Anime is a Japanese colloquialism.
This is a chicken salad sandwich on a bagel. I'm going to review it.
The industry can fucking burn if it's going to have these terrible ideas, you know? Maybe the industry deserves to die.
Look at these fucking idiot teenagers.
This punk bitch motherfucker, I am a human machine. Can't fucking do it anymore.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the podcast. This time on the podcast where we talk about the esteemed videos of the great gentleman Digibois. We will be talking about such modern classics such as 1 Million Ways to Love and Hate Anime or The Garbage Plate. Welcome everyone to the Feeding the Cotton Machine podcast with me, Whatta, and this week with not Ghuntz, but PhantomT.
Hi.
Hello, Phantom. So, our usual co-host Ghuntz, famous lolly man from Florida, is dead because of technical issue.
He's in Florida. That's just like death already.
Yeah, exactly. So Ghuntz is dead, and instead we have gone from South USA to North of USA with PhantomT. Welcome to the show.
We the North, the Great White North, baby.
Yeah, it's a Canadian and Swede. This should be a very great podcast, I feel. We have a shared climate perspective. Yes. So, moving on, as we always do when we have a guest on the show, we talk a little bit about who you are, why you're in the Digibro patron Discord, what your relationship with Digibro's content is. So, let's just start. When did you find Digibro?
Well, the first video that I remember really watching was his Sword Art Online videos. Because I was, like, one of the things that I like to do is I actually like looking up shows that I'm about to watch. And I found his Sword Art Online videos, and it was very interesting because, like, he went into so much depth about how not good Sword Art Online is. I mean, I still haven't really watched a lot of it. I've watched like maybe half of it, and then I said, okay, I agree, the pacing is trash. But at the same time, it's just so... just how much detail he went into it. But that's not actually my first interaction with Digi. My first real interaction with Digi was this one YouTuber who liked to shit talk him a lot back in the Pony days. Okay,
do tell.
She just always like called him. I'm calling her a she because back then she was a he. Okay. But she just shit talked him all the damn time. She made this one video just like, I think back then he had like a this series about similar to like After Dark. Maybe it was on the After Dark channel, and I think he talked about smoking, and she just made a video shit talking him. She's not a pleasant person. She's a tool.
It sounds a bit like the weed controversy he has in the anime community now, right?
Yeah,
like the big smoking thing back then in the
Pokemon. Oh yeah. It was probably very similar. I didn't follow Digi. That was just my only excuse. All I knew is, I don't know this person. You don't know this person. I'm unsubscribing because you's a bitch. And then later on, I found his Sword Art Online videos, and I was like, okay, no, now you really is a bitch.
Yeah. So you found the Sword Art Online videos, very common way into Digibro's content, right? It's the big one that a lot of people watch, and then they get stuck for the personality.
Yeah.
So today, what would you say is the content you look for the most with Digibro?
I like his After Dark stuff the most, to be honest. The After Dark stuff it resonates with me in a way. Like, just the way he, it's so eclectic. It's like, it's the unedited nature reminds me a lot of old YouTube, where it was just like literally just a guy putting on a camera and then just going.
Yeah.
And I really like his music too. Those are like, I only recently got an appreciation for those. The main channel content, whenever there's a big thing, I'm super excited. But like, it's just kind of there, I guess, for me now.
Okay. So on After Dark, what would you say are like the big videos that you like come back to, or? It's fine if you take a bit to think. I'll just edit that.
Yeah. I would say maybe like recently finish or fail. But whenever there's like something really big, the big thing that I look forward to is the meta hole. Meta hole
the
is
whole like aesthetic personality stuff. Like
yes,
thumbnail
yes. There you
analysis
go.
and such.
Thank you. That's a good way of putting it.
So
just,
very similar to mine and Ghuntz's taste as well.
Yes, I guess so.
Yes. Are you also a big fan of the Bayfos vlog?
I don't know which one that is.
Oh, it's the big drunken 3D camera vlog where he screams about Bayfos for half an hour.
I remember the 3D camera vlog. I don't remember what it was about. All I remember is the 3D camera vlog was really cool. I need to watch it again.
Yeah, go back, because that's mine and Ghuntz's favorite video, Digibro.
Right.
It's all about aesthetic personality.
I'll need to go back into it.
Yeah, do that.
But my absolute favorite content from Digibro, and this is actually why what sort of inspired me to patron him, was the Decompression Chamber.
Yeah.
Because it just felt so, I wouldn't say real, but it was just interesting to get his perspective on stuff. And then when I realized that Digi Does Life is essentially Decompression Chamber Part 2, I was like, okay, now I really have to patron now.
Yeah, those podcasts for the patrons called Digi Does Life are really interesting. I've been really into both 2 Weeks Review and Digi Does Life.
I still need to catch up because I'm going in order of everything and I'm just about to hit the 2 Weeks Review stuff.
Yeah, because the 2 Weeks Review stuff I think I value a bit more because he goes into a lot of life stuff there as well. Mm-hmm. Even if it's like supposed to be more media focused. Yeah. And I feel like his personality gets to bloom a bit more. Whereas Digi Does Life is like a big, sort of present moment update thing. And sometimes it feels a bit like Digi in May, you know? Which I've also been getting more and more into recently. Like Digi in May is something that I've been caring about a lot more since like that format of the Let's Play started. Like Digi in May is to me way more interesting than the old school Digi Bros content. Yeah,
I've only recently started getting into Digi in May, and they have just really good chemistry, and it works really well.
These last 2 Dark Gauntlets, we'll get to all this later, but these last 2 Dark Gauntlet Let's Plays have been like really fucking good.
Oh yeah, the Gauntlet Let's Play, that one was the last one was a big one. It sparked a big discussion.
Yeah, we'll be getting to specifics on that later, but it's just been really good. Yeah. So you're really into the Decompression Chambers, and we have allotted a Digging Deep for this later in the show. So yeah, what would you say is like, if you look at Digi now and where he is, what is it that you feel that you patron for today, and what is it you feel that you would like him going into in the future? Like,
well, I mean,
look for?
the big reason why I patroned him in the first place was for his like just for himself, just the stuff where he talks about himself, because he's like, it may be a little weird to think about patroning a certain person for their content, but Digi's just a really interesting guy. Like he's said before, he doesn't think he is. No, he really is. If you listen to a lot of his other content, he lived in a fucking house that was like a castle. How many people do that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's just one thing. Or like, how many people just like take maybe a month or 2 off just to take a road trip across the states just to see other YouTuber friends and make content with them? That doesn't happen very often. It's just a month of just collabs and stuff like that.
I think it's a bit similar to like the appeal of shitty light novel shonen anime, but in a more interesting way, because it's all wish fulfillment, right? Like, everyone who likes Digibro a lot is sort of like Digibro. Yeah. Like, a lot of us have similar life experiences, and he's living sort of the dream, right? So, whereas more normie people will be watching something like a reality show about these rich people, right? I watch Digibro content and his vlogs, and I'm like, man, this guy's so cool. That's sort of, I think, the relationship we have to it.
That could be. I don't think it's wish fulfillment, but I mean, like, that is definitely, like, what you said is, oh man, this guy's so cool. I think part of it is just, like, this guy is so like-minded to all of us as patrons, and it just resonates with us on such a deep level that's why we like it so much.
Yeah, and it's to the point where, like, Digi goes against some of my most, like dearly hell believes in life, and he absolutely goes the opposite way with that. And I still think he's like the coolest guy ever because I just value him as a person so much.
Yeah.
Despite despising some of the things that make him who he is, I would never do it himself. I still think that he's like the coolest guy ever, and I don't care anymore about the stuff that we disagree about because what we agree about is so resonant, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. And to answer what you said about where I would like to see his content go in the future, wherever the damn well he thinks it should, because, like, if I'm looking at it like arcs, we had the Bedroom Bedrock arc, which was really interesting. But then the last one was, like, I'm using his albums as, like, the end of arcs, right? Yeah. His last one was the Gay and Dead arc, and that was, like, fucking interesting as hell. That was, like, super bearded Digi, and it was, like, he looked like just, he looked like anime Jesus.
No, that was in the Bedroom Bedrock arc, though. That was mid-2015 that he looked like Jesus.
No.
Wasn't it?
Last year.
Confusing things?
Last year.
Oh, right, yeah.
It was literally last year, man.
I'm stupid. I'm stupid.
But yeah, no, that was when, like, my friend literally called him Digibeard.
Yeah.
Like, it was
exactly.
like, at that point. And, like, he was just, like, he was overworked, he was depressed and everything, and now he's, like, with May, so, like, we're in the happy Digi arc.
Well-paid.
Yeah, the well-laid and well-paid arc, there we go. So that is, I'm waiting for that album to drop. But that is, that's the arc we're in right now, and I'm happy seeing Digi happy, and he's still producing interesting content, and it's great. It's great.
It's not just that he's still producing interesting content; it's that he never stopped, and it's more interesting than ever. So
yeah, it's different from the other ones, but it's still really good, and I love it.
Yeah, I think that we really could see because there was the period right where he was moving and he was on the road trip, and of course things were unstable there for a while.
Yeah, it was super slow around then,
and it showed in the first meta hole. Because we had the discussion episode 1 about the meta hole, and Digi was commenting on that video saying that, like, oh, you can really see the new arc feeling new in the meta hole, and I'm not used to the apartment and the new house and everything. But now in meta hole 2, like, all the worries about anything that was Digibro's comfort level in his own life are just gone, because he feels exactly like he's just living exactly like he wants to right now.
Yeah.
In the meta hole 2, you can feel that.
Yeah. Metal Hole 2 was great.
Yeah, it really was. We talked a lot about it in the last podcast. So without further ado, I think we should get into the content rundown. The content roundup rundown, the only title so difficult I can never pronounce it. And as we have completely abandoned Digibro's own content roundups because he doesn't do them on Saturdays anymore, and I have now set a schedule where I have to record this podcast on Sundays. I made my own one again, which you can see in the comments section. No, wait, in the description box. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't know this stuff.
What's YouTube? What's a content creator? What is life? What is the internet? What am I? Who am I?
You're starting to sound like the light novel book. We're going the most meta the fastest. So starting off chronologically this week, because last podcast we did everything backwards, and this time we're going to do it in the right order. We have the newest Manga Mondays, the only manga review show that is talked about on this podcast always exactly a week after it comes out, because we record on Sundays. So, Manga Mondays, not love but delicious foods make me so happy. Did this video make you so happy?
I mean, it was okay. He was reviewing a manga that I didn't really think I would ever read, but it was interesting to hear his perspective on it still, because the like we all know he fucking loves food. Who doesn't love food? But he really loves food. And hearing him talk about how, oh man, if I go to Japan, I'm going to keep this with me.
Yeah, I feel that like this Manga Monday sort of left the realm of manga discussion and joined the realm of manga topic discussion, right?
Yeah.
Because it felt more like he was talking about the themes of the manga as their own thing rather than the manga's portrayal of them. And I felt it was sort of a Digibro After Dark vlog about the concept of restaurant eating trends in different cultures, rather than being a Digibro vlog about a manga. And of course it was still interesting because Digibro is the only guy I know who goes out and eats as much as he does. Like, this dude will eat out every single day, as he says in all of his content.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of opinions about what it's like going to a restaurant, and we'll get more of these opinions later on when we discuss other content this week.
Yes.
But I feel that when you listen to him talk about this, because what makes Digibois so good is that he can talk about anything that is a part of his life in any major way, he will always have the most interesting opinion about. Mm-hmm. So, because eating out is a big part of Digibois' life, of course he has like the most interesting opinions about it.
Right.
I think that's like the appeal of this Manga Mondays. It felt like a regular Off the Dark vlog rather than a Manga Mondays.
Yeah, it felt a lot more, because I have listened to some Manga Mondays before, but this one I did decide to watch too. This one felt a lot more After Dark. This one, because how do you he was right. This is pretty much a travel guide. How do you review a travel guide, right? How the fuck do you review a travel guide? I mean, like, maybe you could talk...
Digibois' old channel title was Analyze Everything.
Yeah.
So
but I mean, he did analyze it. He used a travel guide to talk about himself, which is cool. That's really
Gonzo
interesting.
Journalism. It's fucking Gonzo.
It's great. That's why Gonzo journalism... Everyone should be a Gonzo journalist, except people in newspapers talking about real news. You don't want that.
You can never get enough Gonzo journalism.
You can never get enough Gonzo journalism.
Oh boy.
Rap album when? When are you going to drop the next rap song, Whatta?
Of course. So...
You know, Digi probably has no idea what that's a reference to because he doesn't watch the Watchcast.
Exactly. Go watch the very end of the Fooly Cooly cast if you want to know what that's a reference to. So, moving on, we have the main channel video for this week. The only main channel video we're going to be discussing for the upcoming month. We'll get to that later.
Yes.
But the 1 Million Ways to Love and Hate Anime video sparked a doozy of a conversation because as this video dropped, Econ had just joined the Digibois Discord server.
Oh, Econ.
For those of you who don't know, Econ is a big figure in the Digibois criticism community. He did a video on 9.0 channel criticizing Digibois. He's also a very good IRL friend of Digi, and he's a very cool, nice guy with a lot of very thought out, informed opinions. I have a lot of respect for Econ.
Yes, he does. He may be very abrasive. But like, if he has good points, he has good points. Who fucking cares, right?
Exactly. So we get into this video dropping, and we're discussing this video, and he's shitting on it so much because this video is basically just a video explaining to people why Digibois might like some anime, but not like other anime that's sort of similar to it on a surface level. And he's using the example of background art to sort of show how two similar shows can be widely different. Okay? Yes. So what Econ comes in and says is like, this is a terrible video, there's no value to it because it's not highly structured analytical content, it's not a good review of any of the animes inside of it, and it's just like, oh, taste exists is like the only point of it. But then my counter argument to why I really like this video is that this video is just not made for me, right? And it's definitely not made for Econ, who is like an anime scholar of sorts. Because like, this video was meant for people who would not be watching this podcast about Digibois
It's meant for the people who hate Digibro.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Or not even. It's meant for the people who don't understand Digi's taste.
Exactly, they don't understand Digibro because they've seen like the Sword Art Online video and they just go, oh, Digi is a guy who hates anime. You know, every time Digibois made one of those my favorite anime videos, there would always be a comment saying like, oh, it's so weird hearing Digibois talk about anime he likes.
He does it all the time, though.
Yeah, Digibois made like 4 videos about anime he doesn't like. And the Arrow Manga Sensei series.
He talked for 2 videos worth. I think each of them are like an hour long about K-On!
Yeah.
Like, no. Digi can gush about anime. Just as he can hate an anime to the point where he makes makes that big Sword Art Online thing.
Exactly. So the point is that this video is meant for those people who just don't watch the essential Digibro content. They haven't seen enough to understand him.
It's super entry level.
Yeah, so they would be like really fucking confused about why Digibro might like might hate Overlord, but like Log Horizon.
Right.
Which I think is even a bad opinion because I think those shows are so far separated that I don't even see them as barely the same genre.
I have no opinion. I haven't seen Overlord, but
yeah. It's shit. Don't watch it. There's
Okay.
one good joke in that show in like episode 11, and that's it.
okay.
So I don't know. Why did I watch it? Anyway, this video is meant for those people, right? It's meant to teach people to understand Digibro, because as a Gonzo journalist, your enjoyment of this content is entirely reliant on your understanding of him as a person.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Yes. That is... You need some way to get into the Digibro narrative, and this is a decent way of getting in.
Yeah. Like when you watch Finish or Fail, and Digibro drops gamers in the first, 5 minutes of that show, you might be baited into becoming angry if you like the show. Like, I really like that show.
Yeah.
But if you understand Digibro, you laugh and go, haha, exactly what I would do. Like, it's a way more fitting, because I understand his taste, and as of such, my opinion is informed, right?
Right.
This was something I discussed a lot in the last podcast when we were talking about his Konakadachi video. That video sort of not just explained why Digibro had his opinion about Koei, but it made me understand my opinion about Koei, despite my opinion being different, because I could see his taste and compare it to my taste, and realize why I appreciate that movie a bit more than he does. So that's the whole point of it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the level of this main channel video, and I didn't enjoy it that much. Did you?
It was okay. I mean, it just felt like he was telling me things that I already knew.
Yeah.
But then again, we're like the hardcore Digi fans.
Yeah.
Like, we're the ones who are... I'm a $15 patron, but I'm gonna bump it up to 25. You're at 25, so we're the hardcore ones.
Yeah, exactly. We really care to the point
where so at this point it's just sort of
pizzas every week, every month. I mean,
yeah, it's like, I guess you're right. None of this is new to us, but
Yeah. So when you are someone like us, or you're someone like Econ, even worse, this video is just not meant for you. But when you are a fledgling main channel subscriber, this is a solid video.
Yeah.
Now, this video didn't really have a lot of success, and that is why the main channel will be going in a slightly different direction soon, but we are actually going to save that for the news and goss segment, because god damn it, we're going to have some fucking news and goss this week.
Yeah, boy! Gossip! I love gossip!
Time ever we're gonna have news and goss. It's
drama!
No, it's more news than it is goss, but whatever. So we gotta move on to Digi Gauntlet Legacy number 2, which featured the massive Digibois gender discussion.
Oh boy, yeah, and I hope no one makes an outdated helicopter joke about that.
Oh boy. Oh my god. Stop it.
Sorry, but that was a legitimately interesting discussion. I loved listening to that.
And I find it especially interesting because I identified with every single thing that you both said about himself.
I did too. It's weird. It's weird when he talks about it, because listening to that podcast and listening to everyone discuss it, either A, people who like Digibro are all just really like-minded, or B, everyone is a little gender fluid.
Yeah. Because he was telling some special anecdotes, like how he would lay in bed and just hope he would wake up as the other gender the next day.
Yeah, it was weird thinking it was weird thinking that he did that too, to be honest.
I did that. And I spent, Digibois has this old story about how he almost fell in love with a person who was probably pretending to be a girl, right? Back in his old forum days when he was a kid.
Yes, I remember that.
And I've been one of those persons. I've been on certain forums pretending to be a girl, but just because it was an experience, right? I would do role playing and shit.
I've done that too, yeah.
And that's just because you want to experience that perspective, and if you can do it through writing, then at least that's something, right? Mm-hmm. And you can go through his entire discussion here, and I just check all the boxes of what he's saying, and it's so relatable. It's one of the most relatable things he's made.
It was super #relatable.
And what made it so crisp is the fact that May's there just nodding along, going yeah, this is really cool. I am really into this.
Yes.
And it's great.
It's
He's such
great.
a good co-host.
Oh, they're so good together. They have such a good chemistry. I hope they stay
really
together forever. May's a cinnamon roll.
I think that Digi and May is top 10 American famous couples, although they're not that famous, but
yes.
But to me, they're the most famous.
Top 10 couples, top 10 OTPs.
We need like Hollywood reporters to be like spying on Digi and May and reporting on their relationship.
Oh god, I think Digi would hate that.
He would, and May would hate it even more.
Oh yeah.
I think,
but I can totally kind of see Digi either being a reclusive about it or just sort of like trolling them to the point like he just walks out on his front lawn naked, just like
of course.
Fuck you.
Like, and there's also like the aspect that Digi loves listening to anything that's about himself, right?
Yes.
Which is why he occasionally listens to this podcast.
Hi, Digi.
Because he's really obsessed with like listening to things that are about himself, and he would probably read every single article written about him if that was the case.
He would collect them and post them on his wall. He would replace his posters with articles about himself.
Yes.
You know he would.
He would have like a big billboard and it'd just be newspaper cutouts so every time he was mentioned.
Just a big billboard outside of his door saying just all the cutouts of his articles. Yes.
Oh my god. That is absolutely... I'm sorry, this is so offensive. Anyway.
And he knows we love him, right, Digi? We wouldn't be giving him money if we didn't.
So the Gauntlet Legacy playthrough has really been the best thing that I think been coming out of the Digibois channel at all.
Yeah, it has been really good.
It's the tightest discussions. It is the ugliest game to look at. It is.
It's an interesting game. It's very it reminds me a lot of a PS1 game. I don't know what system it's on. You
see, in the beginning of this video, he was addressing my criticism of this game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that I said this game was ugly as sin, and I couldn't see why anyone would like it. I still think it's ugly as sin, and when he was defending it, I started thinking like, it just looks like the ugliest game ever made, Mortal Kombat. And then he said like, oh, it's made by the people who made Mortal Kombat. And I'm like, of course it was. Of course it was made by them. That's why it's ugly as sin, and I hate it. And then they just like, that Mortal Kombat's like really cool looking. I was like, okay, our aesthetics clearly have a line in the sand where they no longer overlap.
Mortal Kombat looks weird to me. Especially the early ones. I prefer the more stylized stuff. It's too Yeah.
Like your work is CG animation, right? That's what you do for a living.
Yes, it is.
And when you look at the fucking models from Mortal Kombat and how they're rendered and shit.
The new ones or the old ones?
The old, because their Gauntlet looks like old Mortal Kombat.
Do you want to know what they literally did? They literally just took a bunch of photographs for people, and then they drew over him, and then they made sprites out of it.
Yeah, that's why it looks retarded.
I think it's silly. But
I think it's ugly. I think it's straight up ugly, and I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of more.
But like their Gauntlet looks so fucking stupid, and they're just constantly spamming attacks all the time in this weird ass fighting system.
Yeah.
And at least the fight against the dragon I thought was funny because they kept losing.
Yes.
They finally beat it in the beginning of this video. Well, May beat it. Digi didn't help. He did nothing.
Let's hope that they keep playing together, because if May stops, he's going to have to beat that dragon on his own.
Yeah, and he's never going to do it. He's that bad at video games,
Nah.
He really needs May to carry his ass for this game.
Yeah, he's a filthy casual when it comes to video games.
Yeah, just like your voice copier, Tommy Oliver.
How do you know I'm not Tommy Oliver? What do you think the T stands for? What do you think the T stands for?
Yeah, in PhantomT. Anyway, Mr. I'm totally not the voice of Tommy Oliver. Moving on our thing, we had the video about the garbage plate. The truth about plates.
Yes. Yes.
The most disgusting video that Digi's ever made.
I kind of thought it looked kind of good.
No. No. No.
Yes. You can't talk. No, Whatta, you cannot talk about this. You put ketchup on your pizza.
No,
not your pizza.
I don't.
On your pasta.
I know, I do. I just ate that for breakfast this morning. But like,
fucking God.
Like this greasy ass, disgusting looking potato slur. Actually, like, it's the sheepish joke of all time, but it looks like garbage on a plate.
Oh my God.
Like, fuck. I hate it. It's It's everything I fear in American food, right? But the video was adorable.
The video was.
They were sitting there just with their little cutlery, just eating, and they never really started eating because they had to keep talking.
The whole thing with the plates. See, I thought it looked kind of good. I really did. I legitimately did. But we have a lot of similar things. Like, we have this thing called shawarma fries.
Mm.
And it's just this big plate of fries with shawarma chicken and garlic sauce.
Okay.
I sent it to you. You should check it out.
Yeah, I see the picture. I'll edit that into the podcast so people can see it. How
does that look to you, Whatta?
It looks like the garbage plate.
It looks delicious to me, so that's probably why the garbage plate looked good to me.
Yeah, when I eat, like, when you get the Swedish food, even like Swedish fast, sloppy, garbage level food, like if I go to a pizzeria and I get some kebab, like that's the sloppiest, greasiest shit I can get, and I love it. But it's like a third as greasy as the garbage plate looked, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not even close. I can eat from the styrofoam box on my laptop and it won't leak grease through it. Because it's safe, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the level of food that I'm comfortable with. But what's really interesting to me is that May has like an Italian background and is really into like nice, awesome Italian food.
Mm-hmm.
And Italian food is like very much not greasy, right? Well, it has a bit of grease because it's a bit of olive oil over everything, but
not that much. You'd be surprised how little olive oil they put.
But like Italian food is famously like light, you know?
Yes.
And then she also lives in Rochester, a city full of Italians. But Rochester's just famous for the garbage plate, which seems like the least Italian thing you'd ever eat.
You're right. It does. It is very un-Italian. My girlfriend's dad would just look at this and be like, "Get this trash away from me," because he's super Italian.
Yeah. Oh my god.
He's super Italian. Maybe May's more American, I guess, but I mean, like, yeah, of course she is. But it's still weird thinking that an Italian family would think what they would think of this. But I don't know. They liked it. It looked delicious to me.
Yeah. Then again, you are basically American, so whatever.
I'm in the America of Canada. You're right.
Yeah, and you're also right by the border living in Toronto, you know. So.
That's why I'm in the America of Canada.
Yeah. So moving on, we have the Pokemon Journey number 5, yes. Which was about the Latis and Latios movie. More Digi May content. So you haven't watched the Pokemon movies?
I haven't watched them past 2.
But you are into Pokemon.
I love Pokemon, yes. I love the video games. Like, I have every single one.
What is your generation? What's like your home gen?
My first video game I ever played was Yellow.
Okay, so you are a first generation boy.
Yes.
So I'm a third generation boy. So this movie was like the first movie that I got as a kid. I watched the fourth one. I watched the Celebi one, but I don't have a lot of memories of that. But the fifth one is like my first movie that felt like it was from my video game, you know?
Right.
Because I had watched all the first 4 movies, but I watched them on like VHS tapes when I was 4. So I don't have that many memories of like movie 1, 2, 3, and later 4. But 5 is like the movie that I sort of watched when I was 10 to 11, and I was in that right age.
Yeah.
It was also the last movie I watched until I became a big teenager, and I was watching all of them for nostalgia. But the fifth one is like the last decent Pokemon movie. But I talked about this every single podcast so far. So, like last podcast, I had a massive rant about the Pokemon movies. So I'm just gonna try talking about Digi's discussion of the Pokemon movie this time.
What did he? Well, first of all, what did he think? Did he like it, or did he think it was not that great?
So they kind of liked some of it, and they shit on some of it. So they were mostly mentioning that the production values were through the roof, and they were comparing it to an era of Disney movies that were shit. Visually, which includes like the Robin Hood movie and stuff.
Oh, the 70s stuff. Yeah, okay, I can totally see that.
So he was comparing this movie to that, and he had this fancy word for it that was like the name of the visual technique they used when they were making those Disney movies. And he was like, oh, it's that technique, but for Pokemon movies. And I sort of couldn't relate to that because when I watched these movies, I was at the anime connoisseur level where I couldn't distinguish CGI from 2D animation.
Right.
That's when I watched the Pokemon movies. So I was thinking back and I was like, were these movies that ugly? I can't quite remember. I just remember like the opening scene of him skating around on a water skating thing being fucking awesome and having like the pompous ass rock opening song of a Pokemon song of all time.
Do you remember what the term was? Was it rotoscoping?
No. It's not rotoscoping. It's like a special film function. There's like a special technology, a special camera type that they use that looked retarded. You can probably Google that stuff.
Yeah,
it was something Disney used in the 70s.
Yeah. I'll look it up later.
What I thought about when I went... So I opened up the movie again after listening to Digi's podcast, and he's right that it looks ugly as sin. The animation's just not there, which is funny.
Yeah.
Because movie 1, 2, 3, and even to some degree 4, even though 4 looked like shit for most of it because of bad CGI, they were Sakuga pieces, right?
Yeah.
So
I remember a lot of animation from the first one.
Yeah, and there's even like there's a cut in the first one which is like animated in once and stuff. So when you watch some of the movie 5 and his commentary on it, a lot of it was focused on how ugly it was. But then they were also praising the fact that the story is at least better than movie 4, which is a low bar to set, but okay. So in the end, they sort of figure out that this is like the 6 out of 10 Pokemon movie.
Right.
This is the movie that did not offend them, but also did not really entertain them. It's the Silver Link of Pokemon movies. It looks like shit, but it's kind of boring. But hey, it's competent enough.
Right.
Which is fun because now they're gonna go into movie 6, 7, 8, 9, which are all sort of like number 6, and some of them just have worse plots. And then they're gonna get into 10 and forward, which is just the same movie over and over again, and there's no innovation past that point.
I did one day on Netflix just decide to watch the Hoopa movie. It was bad, and I just kind of want to see them tear it apart.
Oh, you also hate the Hoopa movie?
Yeah.
That's the one I've been shitting on every podcast.
It's terrible.
Every single feed in the content machine, I've been warning Digibro about movie 18, the Hoopa movie, the worst movie. Just the worst one.
I can't compare it to the other ones because that's literally like I saw 1, 3, and then like about a year ago I saw the Hoopa movie on Netflix.
Yeah. We got a lot of comments on the last feed in the comment machine, which is funny because we usually don't get any comments, but we got comments saying that like, oh, the Hoopa movie wasn't that bad, and I was like, I just disagree with you, man.
It was bad. It was very bad.
Moving on though, we have the pubcrawl 76, which is my favorite episode of the pubcrawl in a long time. This one was really good.
It was very good.
Mostly I just thought that all the topics were like super interesting.
Yes.
Like, so I listed out all the topics. They went from discussing Digibro's cold habits and the fact that he's going to be living further north. Which, on this podcast, we have a Swede and a Canadian, but we already spammed the chat with all the advice about get boots and tires first.
No, I'm going to say this again, because I know Digi's listening. Good boots! Good tires! Like, you have the coat. I've seen it in your music videos. You're fine with coat. Boots, tires, and you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. Although I'm sure May is already telling him all this stuff, so... Probably. Yeah, she has experience, you know?
Yeah, that is true. She has lived in New York for a while.
It's fun comparing American climate to European climate, because if you just look at how far north it is, Digibro lives on the exact same Nordic level as Rome.
Yeah.
If you just look at how far up the globe it is. Mm-hmm. But because Europe is aided by a bunch of hot water currents, Europe is a lot warmer. So Sweden, where I live, is like 2 whole longitudes further north than where Digibro lives. Mm-hmm. But it's just a little bit colder. Like, we're not that much colder than Rochester. And I am about the same climate that you have in Toronto, you know?
I think our climate will be slightly similar because Rochester may be on the mainland, but it is right on Lake Ontario, where we are on the other side of Lake Ontario. Yeah. So our climate would probably be a lot closer.
Yeah, and maybe I'm a little bit colder than you as well then. But...
You probably are because you have all the colder ocean currents.
Yeah, but the biggest difference is that I have a lot of warm ocean currents.
Oh, okay.
Like that's what I was saying. Europe is a lot warmer than America, but I'm way further north, so it sort of balances out.
Yes.
So New York City, like, famously gets sometimes more snow than Sweden does, just because of how the ocean is different and how it's colder.
Right.
But so the biggest difference is that I think that Rochester's winter is going to be fine because there's not a lot of darkness. Whereas in Sweden, we get a fuck ton of darkness because we're so far north.
The darkness, see, I can't really comment on the darkness, but I can definitely comment on the snow. For the past couple of years here in Toronto, and I'm going to assume it's the same in Rochester because we're very close, we get, like, periods where there's no snow.
Yeah.
And then, like, just suddenly, out of nowhere, bam! We have,
a million snow pounds.
We have a big snow pile, and we have to do a lot of shoveling, and it's a big blizzard. But then, like, a week later, it's gone.
Yeah. We don't really get that. We get snow in, like, late December to mid-January, and then it stays until the end of March. And it's just snow the whole way through there.
Right.
But, like, what they were discussing in this podcast is that Digi was telling Cider that he will now have had the experience of living in cold. And I'm like, yeah, Digi, you'll have had the experience of living in cold. Living in darkness, though, that's way worse.
It is.
If I look outside now, so for me, it is currently closing in on 4 to 5 somewhere p.m. in the afternoon. The sun is gone. There is no more sun here right now. I open my window, it's black. Wow. It's nighttime. And it's just November. I'm gonna get even darker come December. So, yeah. I
don't know about that in itself, but, like, it is kind of similar here because, like, we just switched our hours in terms of daylight savings. So, today, starting tonight, the sun is going to start going down at 5. It's going to be dark at 5 is what I mean to say. Yeah. And it's going to be light at 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly.
So, like, as we keep going, because I have the normie schedule, I have the most normie schedule, so I can just say, like, there are definitely going to be people, a lot of people, who wake up in darkness and go home in darkness.
Yeah, that's the big problem we have in Sweden, especially among teenagers in high school, because they wake up in darkness, go to school, and then the entire sunlight they spend inside in classrooms, and then they go home in darkness, and that's why we have so many suicides here, right?
Yeah.
Because people get real depression. Drink milk. If you're suffering from darkness depression, drink milk. It helps get you D vitamins and it gets your attitude up.
Yeah.
That's the big advice. Anyway, later on they discussed Dungeon Meshi, which is a really cool manga that I love. It was on Manga Mondays in the past. Really big 4chan manga. Lovely. Cider, of course, got recommended to it, and it's perfect for Cider, of course.
Yeah.
Then they were discussing tipping. And oh my god, Digibro, if you hate tipping... You were talking about, like, oh, I just want the European model. Yes, you do, baby.
You kind of do.
Tipping is the most alien thing I can imagine about America.
We have tipping here, too. It's not optional here. Tipping is dumb. We all agree it's dumb. It's terrible.
This is what tipping is like in Sweden, right? Whenever I get into, like, a pizzeria, there is a tip jar, and there's, like, 5 crowns in it, which is about $50. And it just says like, tip if you feel kind. And no one does it. And it's just a big meme.
Right.
That's what tipping is. That's all tipping is. If you go to a restaurant and you try to tip, they will be offended. They'll be like, what are you doing?
I did not know that.
This is retarded. Why would you try to give me money? Do I look like I'm begging? Do I look like I'm on the street asking for money? I have a job. I'm doing my job. I have a paycheck.
Do you know what the difference is, though?
Are you taking pity for me? I know what the difference is, though. I know that the difference is that in America, these people are not getting paid.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it's not. It shouldn't be our responsibility to subsidize their wage. But unfortunately, it is. And even then, like, they're still making way more money than a lot of people.
Yeah. But the difference there is that, like, American restaurants are way cheaper than in Sweden. Like, Digibro's lifestyle of eating out every day, he could not do that in Sweden.
Yeah.
Because restaurants are a lot more expensive. If you want a good restaurant meal here, it's a $15 minimum. You don't really get... And if you go to, like, a good restaurant, that is still not even like a really fancy restaurant. It's just like a really good restaurant. You're looking at like $25-$30.
See, we have the worst of both worlds here. Because, like, if you want to go out to a nice restaurant, it'll cost you about, like, maybe $10 to $12.
Yeah.
This is before tax. And then they kind of expect you to tip. You're kind of an asshole if you don't tip.
Mm.
So, like, yeah.
Yeah, I never really thought about tax that way because in Sweden, tax is always just calculated into the price. So you never think about it.
I still don't understand why we don't do that up here in Canada.
Yeah, it's genius.
Yeah.
It's so good. But like,
what I find really weird, I just want to say this about Canada right now because this is kind of interesting. We do have a law that says that if a waitress or a waiter does not make enough tips to meet minimum wage, then it is up to the employer to make minimum wage. So they do make minimum wage.
Yeah.
But we're still expected to tip, and we're still considered assholes if we don't tip because we're so close to America. It's American culture, and that's what we were expected to do too.
Yeah. And it's retarded. And
Digibois
so right when he says that it's retarded.
Yeah.
And I think that like the only way to end this is to stop tipping. But if you do that, then it fucks over people who are not at fault. Like it's not the waiter's fault it's like this. It's the government's fault.
If you're in Canada, stop tipping. They'll be fined. Yeah. By law, they will be fined.
Sure, but we're talking about Digibois content.
Oh,
here,
I'm talking. Yeah, in terms of Digibois, you're right.
You can't really stop.
Yeah, so it's kind of a catch-22. If we stop, then they don't make money. But if we
but like
don't,
the reason that like
it.
I'm complaining about Swedish restaurants prices being higher is that because of the fact that tipping is not a thing, and because wages they're not just making minimum wage, because Sweden doesn't have a minimum wage. We just expect people to pay a lot for a job, you know,
right?
Because otherwise you're an asshole as of an employer. So our technical minimum wage is like way higher than America, even though there's no law set minimum wage.
Right.
So the restaurants have to pay their worker staff a lot, and so there's just fewer restaurants around because you have to be really established to be able to run a restaurant because it's a risky business.
Yes.
Because the staff is really expensive, which means that when there's fewer restaurants, there's less competition, meaning prices go up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why our restaurants are expensive. So it's sort of a trade-off, you know.
Right.
The reason why tipping is so prevalent in America is because all of these restaurants were competing so hard, like pushing down prices, that tipping became a factor because of the fact that there was such stiff, like, capitalistic competition.
Do you know how tipping started in America?
Well, kind of this.
Well, kind of, but it was more like just rich people would literally pay servers to get better service. That's what tipping was supposed to be. Yeah.
Now it's just like if you don't do it, you're an asshole.
Yeah, that's...
No matter how poor you are.
No matter how poor, you are expected to tip.
Yeah. So yeah, that is retarded. Digi moved to Europe and hang out with Hypocrite all day. It will be great.
It will be.
Just be a Euro boy. Fuck Atlanta. Move to London. So moving on.
Or Switzerland. Because then it's close to you, and they speak English there.
Switzerland?
That's what a Swiss friend of mine told me that they do.
Switzerland is a retarded country. Sorry to all our Swiss people. It's not about your culture or anything. It's about the fact that it's impossible to move to Switzerland. Like, Switzerland is like a country that you can't really move to. They have a lot of regulation and shit on who comes in. And also, they speak like 4 different languages. Their English is way worse than most European countries. Like, if you compare the Swiss English to like
But
German,
it's an official language too, so that's even funnier.
Yeah, because Switzerland speaks like mainly French, Italian, and German. Mainly German. But like if you want English in Europe, you go to the Nordic countries or the United Kingdom. A way more stable country to move to. Now Switzerland is rich as fuck, but that's because they're like really fucking elitist about who can be Swiss. And that's immigration is fucking super, super difficult to get through in Switzerland. Austria's the same way. Sorry if I offended anyone in our Swiss audience, which I don't think we have.
I did not know that they spoke English in England.
Ha! Yeah.
Anyway.
Sweden is the country that isn't like an English-speaking country that has the best English, despite my terrible accent.
Your accent's fine,
like
man.
World leaders in English speaking.
Your accent's fine, man. I'm serious.
Yeah, you keep saying that. Everyone keeps saying that. I don't agree. Whatever. Then they talked a bunch about anime in China and Japanese politics, and that was funny. But I don't have a lot to say about that discussion. So moving on, or do you have anything more to say about pubcrawl?
No, I'm tapped out on that. All I have to say is Chinese cartoons.
Oh boy, the memer you are. Anyway,
Yes.
Digi gets mail, and I've just wrote in Whatta's candy, because my candy arrived!
Yay! Did they like it?
They like the kex. Kex choklad. It's it's so funny to me that I never realized the kex would be a meme when I sent it. Because to me, kex is just the word for biscuit.
Right.
But then Digi was making a big deal, like, oh no, it's a meme. Oh, kex, fucking kex. And I was like, okay, whatever. But now I'm sort of in on it. Now I also like the kex meme.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's they like the candy, and I did not research because I didn't know that May was not allergic to nuts. So I had to go and read all the tabs in Swedish and translate it for them. So I sent May information about what was eatable.
Yeah.
She couldn't eat the ballerina cookies, which is sad because those are really, really good. But they had a bunch of hazelnut crème, which is not included. But I think also Manga Mondays happened in this video. So that was fun. Some weird guest writer just wrote a Manga Mondays about a manga that Digi should read. It's a good episode. Go watch Digi Gets Mail number 22. It's good. But then later on in the episode, what was really cool about it is that Digi and May were just being the cutest couple of all time with the fucking cape.
Oh, yeah?
Digi being a fucking weird edgelord with the cape, and May just being super weirded out by it, and it was the most adorable thing ever. I loved it. It was fucking great.
I should consider watching it because, like, I only really watch Mailbag sometimes. And I'm gonna watch the next one because I'm gonna have something in there that's.
Yeah, you're sending something now, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna send something in a couple days.
You know, he got a fucking pop icon statuette of Kirito in this one.
Of Kirito, yes.
And he said it was the best meme because he hates Kirito, although he kind of loves to hate Kirito, so now he loves Kirito.
I'm gonna.
He mostly hates this fucking series of statuettes and pop that they're called. So
everyone hates
it's the ultimate meme. Yeah, it's the ultimate meme.
It was great. It was great.
I first heard about pops in the Jessica, no, not Jesse, in the Jesse video. You know, on the furnace room.
Oh yeah.
He did a video about getting pop statuettes for some of the characters in Cowboy Bebop. And that's where I first heard about it. And then I had not heard about it again until Digi made this videos. So that was cool. So I never knew that he hated them.
Pops
then
are just
we
really low
have
quality,
Then we have the Game Boys podcast.
Didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it. I watched half of it this time, mostly because I was really interested what Digi's opinion on Pokemon Colosseum was. And also Digi's opinion on the whole console war of the second generation. Because I know Digi's really invested in the console war. And I got exactly what I wanted. I got Digi's bad opinion about Colosseum. And I got Digi's whole life story with the console war more focusedly explained. Because Digi's talked about the whole Nintendo fanboy thing before in a lot of content. But this was like a more focused discussion about that whole thing.
Right.
Which was really interesting. You also get more like deep lore about what it was like for Digi playing games with Vika and Shade. And how he would like not even play the games anymore because he was sick of the fighting. And he would just read them the strategy guide while they played.
Right.
Which I think mirrors really cutely into the fact that in Digibros back in the old days, Vic was always playing the games and Digi was just talking. Because that just goes back to the fact that Vic and Shay would fight over who got to play the game, and then Digi would read the strategy guide. It all works out, man. It's all a big narrative of Digi's life. I'm definitely not a stalker.
Well, speaking of stalkers, you want some more deep Digi lore? Did you read the post about what he did with Victor and Naruto?
Yeah, we found a post about Digibro claiming that he would make sound effects reading Naruto on the toilet, and he would creep Vic out. That's the greatest deep lore, man.
No, the best part is he said that he did it while in the fucking bathroom.
Yeah.
He said he read it in like some sort of cheesy kung fu voice or something like that. It was like, "Oh, Naruto! Oh!" It's fucking deep.
Oh, it's great.
Oh man.
You weeb. So then we have the new series of videos called Digi's Office, where he goes through his stuff. Have you watched these?
I watched Chair. I didn't watch Audio and TV Tray, but that was mostly just because of bad timing. I am gonna go back and watch those later.
Yeah, I thought audio was really interesting because while Digi's talked about his audio equipment before, it's never been like this specific, right?
Right.
And as a guy who's currently running a podcast using my Blue Yeti,
right,
I'm sort of not on the best time with audio thing. I spend a lot of time editing this podcast in post. I spend like hours every week editing this podcast to try and get every little noise out of it. Because my audio equipment's so bad. It's just a microphone with a USB, you know?
Right. Yeah, I have a Blue Snowball, so I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah. And your audio is still better than mine for some reason. So when you think about it, this one was really a good look at like, okay, so if in the future, this is the sort of stuff that you would be looking into. And not because I really wanted to find brands. I sort of wanted to know how it works because I don't really know how an audio interface works because I've never seen one, you know?
Yeah.
I've never sort of interacted with an audio interface. So hearing him talk about how an audio interface works and sort of what you can get out of a machine like that was really interesting to me. So
I highly suggest you invest in one because in the whole shebang, especially if you want to keep doing this because it's really good. So
like you look at that video and it's really interesting to me. Compared to something like the TV Tray video, which felt like a big fucking meme. Like, that was fucking stupid. I don't care. I don't care about the TV Tray. But it was a funny video, so I care about the video. I enjoyed watching it, because it was funny. It was like a joke.
You mean you don't want to buy that exact TV Tray off of Amazon?
No, even Digi's gonna replace it, he said. But, like, the TV Tray is not an interesting thing, but the fact how he presented it was funny, so that's why I like the video.
Right.
And, of course, it also feeds into the whole Gonzo journalist stuff, right?
Right.
You sort of see everything through his eye lens, so now you get a better look at that lens itself. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
It was.
I'm really looking forward to the video about the drapes in the background.
That'll be interesting.
Because I thought the color combinations, they were really interesting.
You know what? As right as you are, and I don't know if this is if this is in his office, we need a review of Elated Arab Gentleman.
Oh, yes! Oh, shit. I know he brought that with him, because I've seen it in the house tour.
Yeah, it was in the house tour. We need a review of Elated Arab Gentleman. Digi, if you're listening to this, please review Elated Arab Gentleman.
It's pretty good.
That'll be funny. Stuff. I want his chair, but it's not available in Canada, so I'm super sad about that.
You know, I kind of got lucky with my chair because I had a roommate before, and he had a chair that he's been using since he was like 14. And he brought it with him when he moved in with me in our little apartment. Yeah. And then he moved away to a dormitory school where he got furniture. So he sort of left a bunch of his stuff here. Mm-hmm. So I just inherited his chair and his desk and his TV. Now the chair is actually terrible, but for some reason it just fits my ass perfectly, and I never get a pain sitting in this chair. I might sit in this chair like 15 hours a day, sometimes on weekends. And I never get back pain. And it's a bad chair. I just happen to have this magic, like, compatibility with it, which is weird. It might start hurting and killing my back in a few years. Who knows?
I need some kind of chair, because, like, we just have this really bad office chair at work, and it's not very good. So if I was able to get Digi's chair, I would just, like, bring it with me to work, plop it down, and it's like, okay, good. That is my chair for work.
Yeah. Because you, as an animator, you do a lot of desk work, right?
Yeah, I'm sitting for about 8 hours a day. Sometimes more.
So, that is what I find for value in the Digi's Office series. It's also daily, so that's fun. Daily Digibois content.
Yeah.
Then we had the Finish or Fail video. The newest one. Did you manage to finish it, or...?
I finished it just before this podcast.
Great.
I was not expecting it to be this that long, but I finished it.
Yeah, I'm actually going to criticize him for that this time, because I felt like the discussion about Suda was just entirely repetitive in and of itself. They went through every single couple in Suda, and they were like talking about it. And sure, that was interesting in some ways, especially since I also really like Suda, but it really got to a point where I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah. And it was,
I get what you're saying.
I think, one of the least constantly interesting episodes of Finish or Fail. When it comes to Digibois content, I sometimes use the measurements like interesting points per minute, because Digi has so like dense content that often the interesting points per minute is pretty high. This one was pretty low. I felt like maybe there was like 1 to a half interesting points per minute in that podcast.
I don't know. Personally, I liked it. I personally like that whole ramble about Suda children.
I mean, it was cute. It was cute and funny. I just felt it went on too long, and I felt like they were like they were sticking on couples that weren't that interesting, and because the couples weren't that interesting, their conversation about them wasn't that interesting, and then they had like some time where they tried to figure out what they wanted to say about the couples, and it just went on for a long time, and I got kind of bored with it. That was mainly my problem with it.
I guess.
But then they get to points like when they were laughing about jokes they liked, or when they talked about the dude in Suda who's like the perfect prince of romance, and I was like, they got to him last, and I really wanted them to get to that character and talk about him, but I never got there, and I was like, can you just get to the character I like so I can be done? That was another aspect of my watching that episode. The rest of it was great though. They dropped all the bad shows. Yeah,
they dropped Yujo Senki, which I didn't watch, but it looked interesting, so I'm glad to hear that. No, it's kind of boring and generic and just like,
you know, I dropped JoJo Senki just as they did on like the first 9 minutes of the first episode. But then everyone kept hyping it up, especially Arcada from Glass Reflections kept hyping up this anime as like a really good anime. I think Jeff from Mother's Basement did it too. And I was like, can it really be good? It was so shit. And then everyone kept talking about it. So I put it back in my backlog, but I haven't watched it yet. And now Digi's ripping into it like, oh no, this is a shit show. And I'm like, okay, I can just take it off the backlog then. It was exactly what I thought it was. So yeah, that was cool. The two anime they have left on the short shows are Alice the Soroku and fucking, I don't even remember. It was another show. But those are like shows I'm more interested in them getting to. Oh yeah, it's Skigakure and Alice the Soroku, which are like the two anime I've been most interested in Digi seeing. Because Skigakure, I think, is a really good anime, and Digi's been hearing a lot of good things about it as well. Yeah. And I think it's like really up Digi's romance style. Because I was watching that video, I was comparing it to Digi's old video, what I look for in anime romance, and I was just checking every box, you know? And then Alice Ozoroku, Mia and Ghuntz have been running this meme that it's like Digi will drop it, but the second half is completely different. Yeah. But then Digi also doesn't fall for the second half is completely different, because that's a bad meme. Because it doesn't make any sense. Of course it doesn't. But so me and Ghuntz have sort of been hyping up the big Alice the Soroku dropping, because it's going to be a hilarious dropping, because that show is like, it's not just bad in the first episode, it's fucking hilariously bad in the first episode. Right. And there's this like, I think there's like a 12-minute CGI scene, which I don't even think he'll get to. He'll drop it before that. But if he finishes the first episode, there's like a 12-minute CGI scene that is the ugliest CGI I've ever seen. You know, you work in CGI, and you sent me a video of what animation looks like before it's like properly configured and stuff. Yeah. That's what it looked like.
Jesus Christ.
It had the backgrounds put in, but the like character textures looked exactly like in that pre-rendered face that you sent me.
Jesus fucking Christ, how horrifying.
It's so horrifying. And it's like the whole thing is a car chase. And it's absolutely disgusting. Yeah.
I'm personally looking forward to Little Witch Academia when he brings that up. I think he'll like the first half a lot, but it completely switches gears in the second half, and I don't know if he'll like it as much. Yeah.
That's sort of the opinion that me and Ghuntz have been peddling as well. Although we're pretty sure he'll finish it. Yeah. Just because it's a trigger show and he'll have things to say about it, even if he doesn't like it as much.
That is true.
But I definitely fear that this will like not be a 9 for him.
Yeah, so, I'm expecting like an 8. If the whole series was like the first...
I'm expecting a 7.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm expecting this to be a 7 for Digi. For me, it's 9. I love the show.
I love the show. It is a 9 for me, yeah.
But I think for Digi, it's going to be a 7.
Yeah.
So, that's Finish or Fail. Looking forward to this being weekly now, with some more finished shows, hopefully. Hopefully May still has time to do these. because like she's doing the Pokemon podcast and she's working a fuck ton and she's doing Digi and May Let's Plays, and now she's gonna do finishing shows in Finish or Fail, which takes a lot of time. It takes like 4 hours or 8 hours to finish Little Witch Academia. That's a long show. I hope like they have Guru Guru in the light side, a show which is also 8 hours long, and it's also gonna take up a lot of May's time. Although that show doesn't finish until January, so that's a bit later.
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully May is fine and isn't stressed out. I really hope
hopefully.
So. Take care of yourselves. Seriously.
Yeah, please do.
We get enough content, Digi. We get enough content.
Don't overwork yourselves.
Don't overwork my viewing habits. So that is the end of the content roundup rundown for this week. We are about an hour into the show, an hour 6 minutes, and we are going to move into the segment called Digging Deep, where we are going to go into this time your favorite Digibois content, which is the Decompression Chamber number, I don't know the number, but November 22nd, the Long Depression one.
Yes, the Long Depression
which
one.
We have rewatched for this episode. So why don't you start off with your reflections on this episode of the Decompression Chamber, and maybe what the Decompression Chamber was for you as a whole.
Sorry, you cut out there for a bit. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, so why don't you start with your perspective on this episode of the Decompression Chamber, and maybe what the Decompression Chamber was for you as a whole.
Whatta, hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So, my perspective on the Decompression Chamber is, it's a really interesting episode. Well, the first part, he talks about Rick and Morty and how it's interesting to see, if Rick and Morty, season 3 sucks, it's because this guy left. And it's interesting to see because he did mention, during Rick's D Minutes, I don't remember if you guys didn't watch that, did you?
No, we didn't.
Yeah. He did mention that he didn't like this season as much as the other ones. So it is interesting to see that he sort of did say this is something that might happen. So that was kind of cool. I don't remember the middle part, but the end part, that is some good Digilore. That is a lot of good Digilore. But on the other hand, it's really interesting to see, because you always hear depression talked about from people who either aren't depressed or people who are, but you never really hear it from people who, from the perspective of someone who used to be depressed but no longer is, right?
Well, no longer to the same degree, at least.
Yeah, not to the same degree. But like, it was just super fascinating to hear all of that. Like, hearing him talk about how you sometimes get what's the word I'm looking for? Happiness is a resource, and one day you just expend so many, and then you still just keep getting one.
Yeah.
It sounded super super relatable. Like, I was never depressed to that extent, but I have been depressed, and it's interesting. It's not pleasant. It's
Yeah. I think that for me, the main thing to take away from this episode of the Decompression Chamber is that, you know, a lot of us fans always talk about how similar we are to Digibois, and that's sort of why we're sort of becoming friends now, right, in this Discord. A lot of Digibois fans, because we're all really big fans of this guy who we see ourselves in, and because we see ourselves in Digi, we can see ourselves in each other, and that's sort of why we're bonding.
Yes.
And with this one, I sort of came to think that a lot of the reason that we are the way that we are, why we have these Digibro habits, is because of how we got here. And I can just look at my life story and how similar it is to Digibro's.
Yeah.
I moved around a lot. I moved between Sweden and the Netherlands, and then I moved around in Sweden as well. Shifted schools a bunch, very bullied. Mostly bullied for liking Pokemon. That was like the big reason why people were punching me and shit and mocking me and stuff. Right. Always an outcast, always different, always weird. Started realizing I was weird in middle school, in 8th grade, somewhere around there, just like Digi did. Before that, I blamed everyone else for being weird. All these things that he's saying are like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
I was exactly like that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and now I'm sitting here as a 21-year-old boy, and I'm just very similar to Digi.
Yes.
And of course I am. We grew up the same way. Now, we also have big differences. Like, my family is completely different from his family. Not a similarity to be seen. But the circumstances around growing up were very similar.
Yes.
And that is sort of... So when he talks about his experience with depression, it mirrors my experience with depression a lot. And I really value that. And this was like a big help, this video. Because this video was released a year ago now.
Yes.
And a year ago, I was just getting into Digibro. This was one of the videos they were like releasing when I was just new into the fandom of Digibro. And I was sort of in my first year of school, and I hadn't really done a lot of the things that I've done during this year to sort of feel better. So I was still sort of at the brink of getting out of my depression. And the year before that, the spring before that fall, had been my big falling out with life situation. That was where I went through a lot of self-harming and stuff. And then Digi was talking about that, about how he had suicide attempts and stuff. And his way of doing it in this stupid, childish way was very similar to my way, where I would actually take a stick and try to stick it through my gut, like a regular stick, when I was a kid. And of course, it wouldn't penetrate my shirt, because my fucking sweater was too much armor for this little stick I picked up, which was retarded. But it's very similar to his story with like the clothespins on his nose and his mouth, right?
Yeah.
And later on, I would punch myself in the face a lot. That was my way of self-harming.
My story is actually kind of funny too. My story was I pulled out a butter knife and I tried to stab myself in the stomach with it.
Oh my god, that's fucking similar to mine.
Really?
Yeah, because I used a stick and you used a butter knife.
That is true, yes.
Both of us tried to perform harakiri, the grand Japanese way.
I tried to commit Sudoku.
Yeah,
Sudoku. I tried to commit Sudoku.
Oh yeah, fucking Sudoku. Fucking Sudoku, of course. No, seppuku.
It's seppuku, yes.
Yeah, harakiri as well. So yeah, that's pretty funny. In a very mortal way. Which Digibois also mentions, like, he thought it was funny in a sort of sad way.
It's funny in a childish way.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I can really relate to Digi on that sense, partially because, like, we are so similar in age. Like,
yeah, you're way closer to Digi in age than I am. Because
I literally just turned 25, and he turned 26, like, in August.
Yeah. So you're born 92. And
I'm in 92. He's a 91 boy.
Yeah,
but, like, I remember
96,
all of the same things. I remember reading... I wasn't part of the forums, but I do remember reading Mega Tokyo. I did pick up Shonen Jump when it first came out. I just... Wow.
And it's funny, because when I talk to other people in Digibro Discord... they will be like, they will have similar forum experiences to me if they're the same age as me. So a lot of us born from 96, 97 age, a lot of us hung out on the Super Skarmory forums, which was the fan forums for a YouTuber called Super Skarmory. He did Pokemon Let's Plays. Right. And he had a big forum board, and we would talk there, and that was like the big, like what we did instead of Mega Tokyo. And Digibro's experiences with Mega Tokyo were kind of similar to my experience on the Super Skarmory forums, but like I always thought that these forums were super small. On the Digibro Discord, I found like 10 people from there. So it's really amazing that we as a community are so similar to each other and have such similar experiences. It's fucking magical.
It is. It's great. I think if Digi was born in like 96, he would be on the Super Skarmory forums.
Yeah, he probably would be.
He probably would have been.
I'm absolutely sure he would be.
Hell, maybe Shade was on them. I don't know.
I don't think so, because of the fact that because Digi existed, Vic and Shade probably had different relationships to stuff because they were like friends with Digi.
That is
who
true.
Would bring them into other things. And Vic is too old for Super Skarmory forums.
Yeah. Vic is, I think, like a year or two younger than Digi.
I think Vic is born 93. Yeah, he's born 93, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so yeah.
It's how it is. And it's really interesting that we're also similar. Yeah. So that's sort of what I got out of this Decompression Chamber. It's this big, relatable thing.
It was super relatable.
Cool.
I loved it.
Yeah. So that was our Dig in Deep segment. I cannot pronounce my own fucking segment titles because my fucking lisping is too big.
That was the Digging Deep segment.
Oh my god, you suddenly got really professional sounding.
All I did was put on a radio voice and come close to my mic.
Oh my god, you should have been doing the podcast like this all the time, but please stop.
I'll just do the rest of the podcast
no,
like this.
No, please stop.
Okay, all right.
No, stop. All right. Okay. So we're now going to move into the last segment, which is called News and Goss. And for the first time ever, we have News and Goss.
We just need like in this podcast you just need like a big news segment like Yeah,
but it would suck because we never have news, but we actually have news this time. So first of all, big news for this month. Digi has on Twitter and also in the Discord confirmed that he will try making 2 videos a day every day in November, and he will also be releasing a big Makoto Shinkai video that's gonna be 80 minutes long. It's the Digibois Makoto Shinkai movie, and it's being edited by Davu as we're speaking. It's progressing right now. Digibois finished writing it. He finished the audio recording for it, so it's just being edited by Davu. It's gonna come out at the end of November, and also he's writing a book.
Is it a light novel?
I think it's like a light novel in like a month. So it's I wrote this light novel in like a month. It's a NaNoWriMo novel. Okay. So we'll see what it is or it's like.
We'll see.
Or if it's even gonna be finished. Who knows? Maybe
who knows?
Because
I hope it's as eclectic
as
I hope it's as eclectic as I wrote this light novel in today.
Yeah, that book really needs a better title. It's so annoying to say, but
it fits. It really fits because like that is literally what light novels are like. I can't believe my sister is this cute. My girlfriend is a T-Rex.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
maybe
so
it's just that all light novels need a better title.
Yeah, that is true. But it's meta. That's the whole point. I wonder. I don't know if it's going to be as meta or what, because I do know his favorite book is House of Leaves, and I have House of Leaves. I'm just looking at it right now. And if it's in that sense, if it's in that way, oh my god, god, this will be. Maybe one day we'll get like a big masterpiece of a book that's like House of Leaves, or like that video series that he wanted to do that he talked about in Insomnia Analysis like last year. But I don't think
but he talked about it, so it won't happen.
That is true.
You know, if you're a patron, you get to watch these commentary videos where him and Davu watch a bunch of all of his old content and they commentate over it. Have you watched any of this, Phantom?
Not yet. I just upgraded this week, and I'm trying to catch up on all of the. So Patreon
if you think
podcasts.
that it's hard to, if you think it's hard to catch up on all the Digibois Patreon podcasts, imagine catching up on all the commentaries. They're all like 5 hours long, and there's like 20 of them.
Oh my god!
And actually, it's just Digi and Davu talking about Digi's content. It's
I need to ask you right now. Right now. You remember that 8-hour recommendation video?
Yes, I've seen it. I watched all of it.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. Because I watched the whole damn thing at work.
Yeah. And
it was... Oh, man.
It's a doozy. I watched that during staying up at night. I stayed up a whole night and watched it until morning. Garci's Wings, the only fucking comedy that got a 4-star recommendations. God damn it. But anyway, so if you watch those commentary videos, he will often say things to Davu like, yeah, I should totally make this video. Or like, oh, I should totally make this video. Mm-hmm. And then in the latest one, he actually said like, "Oh, this will probably be like the next video I make. You know, I'll make this video called Top 10 Anime Character Dynamics, like 2 characters who really fit together and have good writing together."
It sounds really
inspired by the discussion about Gonekilwa. But then I know that all of this was recorded in March and has been coming out slowly over the year, and that video doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Of course that's the fucking case. And the funny thing is that in that fucking commentary, Digi says, so everyone listening now in November is like either saying, oh yeah, this is how this video came about, that's really cool, it's one of the greatest videos Digibois made, or they're sitting there going, wait, I don't remember that video. Which is great. Be a patron, you can get these commentaries, they're fucking great. It's Davu and Digi doing Feeding the Condom Machine way better than I could ever do. So yeah, that's the news. Then we have a second news, which is more like goss, which is fucking leaks about the next week's Procrastinator podcast fucking podcast thingy.
Drama.
Yeah, we know that the next PCP is going to be on drama, and Digi's sort of maybe kind of gonna joke about a thing about starting drama with a channel called the Pizza Podcast, and I don't know anything about these people. I just know what Digi was writing. He was
know them.
You know,
I know them.
maybe just making this joke already starting the drama. So,
It might. I honestly think that the main guy, Rebel Taxi, he's just going to look at it and he's just going to laugh, and he may just play it up as a joke. But the other ones are just going to take it super seriously.
Okay.
So that's going to be kind of interesting to see.
Wait, Rebel Taxi?
Yeah, he's the one who leads the pizza.
Pixels? Tommy Oliver? Oh my god! It all comes together because of
I mean, like, Rebel Taxi is a cartoon YouTuber. I work in cartoons. Rebel Pixels, Rebel Taxi. It's a conspiracy.
Yeah. Your name is PhantomT. It's Phantom Tommy. It all makes sense. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay, so that is all the fucking news and goss for this week. Everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Feed in the Economy Machine, the worst podcast on the internet.
Yeah, don't listen to it. Kill yourself if you listen to this whole thing.
Unless you're Digi, please don't kill yourself.
No. Actually, don't kill yourselves. We love all of you.
Yeah, don't let depression get to you guys. It's really bad.
Please don't.
We love everyone.
We love everyone except Ghuntz. Fix your internet.
Ghuntz. His name is not Ghuntz, it's Ghuntz.
I'm gonna keep calling him Guts.
Stop it.
No.
Oh my god. You know, I was watching analytics for this channel, and we actually have someone in Japan who watches every single episode of the Feed in the Economy Machine.
That's so interesting.
If you are our one listener in Japan, leave a comment. Say hi. We know you exist. God damn it, because YouTube analytics is spooky that way. I know there's just one person who has finished every episode of Feed in the Economy Machine, who is in Japan.
Interesting.
It's really spooky. Or it's someone who's like on using Hula Router to like look like they're in Japan for some reason.
I mean, like they could get some Netflix anime.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. See you in the Discord, everyone. Have fun. This has been Feed in the Economy Machine with Whatta and PhantomT. Ghuntz will be back next week when his technical difficulties are over. We miss you, Ghuntz. Sayonara, everyone. Fuck off. Bye. Suck my dick. Hate
Bye.
You want to open up your real man's bottle of tomato sauce, and you want to put that on the pasta. None of that ketchup type shit. It's all about the pasta sauce. I'm not a filthy, degenerate Swedish man, so I don't do that.
Ha! Fuck you.
And number 1.
And the best anime of 2017 is, of course, Boku no Hero Academia, Season 2. And I love that there's already a Season 3 in the works, and that there's going to be more and more Hero Academia, and more and more. And more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And more.